All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a 3-for-1 special. We have 3 chapters today. It's been a hot minute since we had 3 chapters for 3 chapters for 3 different series: One Piece, My Hero, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Kohagen, Ogata, it's good to see the both of you. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples. Sorry, I've been doing a lot of running around since I got home, taking care of the boys, running downstairs. Family got me some food, so as soon as I'm done with One Piece, I'm going to eat that before we start My Hero, so that way I can get that all sorted out. But it's good to see all of you. And it looks like we're going on break after this chapter. But let's begin. In the last chapter of One Piece, we had Mars questioning York of where the broadcast is coming from. Everyone's trying to get away from the rest of the members of the Gorosei, and it ends with Saturn intercepting Nami, Chopper, and Usopp on top of the Labo phase, and it has Ethan Baron getting in between the giant pirate giant warriors ship and bringing down one of the giants, and he's standing in front of Bonnie and everyone else. So, and then we have Mars, who makes his way into Punk Records, and he's getting ready to bear down on the supposed transponder snail that's broadcasting this message that Vegapunk is ready to broadcast to the whole world, but he notices that there's something else inside the room with him. So, as we begin with based on a reader request, the Straw Hats as chess pieces, with Robin as the player by Man Who Loves Yamato. And it pretty much just has Robin playing chess using all the members of the Straw Hat crew as chess pieces. We have Chopper being all of the pawns. We have Jinbei as a rook. We have Brook as the king. We have Nami as the queen. We have Frankie as another rook. We have Sanji and Zoro as knights. And I don't know what Usopp is. My chess knowledge is very, very I'm not as knowledgeable with chess. But also, for Luffy, he's also seen as like a king piece as well. But moving forward with chapter 11-13, Stalemate. Okay. We're here in the present. I'm excited. I'm moving my stuff away, so if I swing my arms, it doesn't do anything. So, it cuts to Mars at the top of Punk Records. The greatest brain in the world, Punk Records. And then it cuts to Vegapunk.
Well, it's been such a short time that the coffee's not even cool yet. But are they all set up with their video transponder snails now? Video transponder snails by now, I wonder.
30 seconds to go, Stella. And this is Shaka. And then we have Pythagoras. I feel a bit nervous knowing this is going all over the world. And then it cuts to Mars looking up, because we're starting to see more and more of this room that he's in with the transponder snail right next to him.
It lives on even after your death. Is this you, Vegapunk?
Oh. Yo. We were right. Everyone who said, wouldn't it be something if up there inside of Punk Records was just a big old giant brain? We were right. Because inside of Punk Records, Mars is standing in front of a giant vat with a ton of tubes and wires connected to the upper half of Vegapunk's brain. Like the upper half of his entire mind. Vegapunk's head has become so big, it is literally, it would eclipse even Whitebeard and Kuma in size. That's how big Vegapunk's brain is now. Because of the brain fruit he ate, it's gotten so large that he had to literally cut it off and put it. I thought when he said Punk Records, I thought it was just like an amalgamation of all of his knowledge digitized. No, Punk Records is literally the living brain of Vegapunk. And it's all connected to all these wires and tubes, and it's in this big brain vat. Dude, when I was making a joke like, oh, what do you think? It's gonna be the brain like that big giant brain in the Nightmare of Mensis, and you gotta do that signal in order to get that one blood echo rune, and it's exactly that. It's his head. Not just the brain itself, but literally his head. Literally the upper half of his giant head. And Mars goes, "What is death exactly? Where do our ideas truly reside?" And then he cuts to Mars as he's standing in front of the transponder snail, and the transponder is going,
"Video will one day connect the entire world. It will mean knowing and the discomfort of being known."
As it shows Mars getting closer and closer, and he's preparing to step on the transponder snail. What? If it's not at Kaya's house, then no one in the village has one. Syrup Village, Usopp's home in the East Blue. And we have Mary going, "Visual transponder snails are quite large, you know." Wow, we haven't seen Kaya in forever.
"It's like taking care of a very big pet. Why don't I put on some tea?" Dr. Vegapunk's had a huge influence on the world of medicine, too.
And then it cuts to the vegetable gang.
"I know, right? Like you'd say anything, like you'd know anything about that. Pepper, carrot, read a book. If you didn't know what Dr. Vegapunk is."
Then we have the Navy taking note of this moment. Should be starting any moment now. Then we go to the Twin Capes with Crocus and Laboon. We are cutting to everywhere. We haven't seen Laboon in years. Okay? We haven't seen Crocus and Laboon in years. Fuchin Island, Baltimore, Vegapunk's home. He was born here? That's right. He's the pride of Baltimore.
"Oh, the one from the Nightmare of Baltimore?"
Nope, that was Frankie. And he's a ship now. Because they're attributing Frankie's most recent appearance to that of the Sunny. They're basically, they think Frankie has turned into a ship because of his wanted poster. It's been decades since I saw Vegapunk. Birdie Kingdom, Chopper's training ground, South Blue. We're cutting to all the locations. Birdie Kingdom, Chopper's training grounds, South Blue. I want to make sure my mic is on and good. People are talking about the island where Tanukichi is. And then it has the giant birds working with the indigenous people. Vegapunk's the father of modern science, but many of his advances are used for weapons. Pirate Island full of lead, New World. And it cuts to different pirates just arguing with each other. Note that there's no one present of the Blackbeard crew here at the moment that can be seen.
"Would you all pipe down? Vega, whoever is about to speak."
Who? Stop trying to distract me from the fact that you rigged this game. And it's just Pirate Island full of lead. The more I think about it, is basically Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean. Then we have a voice going,
"Can you all hear me?"
Egghead, New World.
Test. Hello? This is Vegapunk. Hello, world.
Yo. Oh! We called it! Who was it who said it? Who was it who said it? Who was it who said that Vegapunk would fake them out? Who said it? Ozzy, was it you? Someone said it! He crushes the shell that looks like the transponder snail, and it's just a regular one underneath it. Vegapunk punked them all. Who said it? Was it Ozzy? I think it was Ozzy. Ozzy! I don't even know if he's here because I can't see chat because I'm going to focus on this chapter. Pages 8 and 9. We're not even halfway through. But he crushes the shell and is surprised to see that it's just a regular transponder snail. Bruh, if that transponder snail is in fact on Punk Hazard and they have no way to get there. Oh boy.
Hello? This is Vegapunk. Hello, world.
Just a regular transponder snail. Not only does he hide it, he fools us with decoys. And he bursts, and Mars furious, bursts out of Punk Records in his, Bakotsu form. No, Itsumade form going,
Curse you, Vegapunk! Come in, world! It's a one-sided hijack.
It's a one-sided hijack of the waves, Stella.
I know that! Well, in that case, let's get this message started.
Yeah, about time! And we have members of the Long Arm tribe listening in on this. What's about to happen? And then we cut to other people in a forest somewhere listening to this as well, with a kid going,
What is it? Go back to sleep. A very important man's going to tell us something.
It's not stopping, Mars. I'm sorry. Vegapunk has concocted a robust security system to prevent the transmission from being stopped. I don't know what he knows or what he intends to say, but your claim that he has carried on Ohara's research. So he refuses to go out like Clover, eh? Does he mean to avenge Ohara's loss?
and it shows the face of all of the members of the Godosei as they get massively nervous about what's about to happen. And it shows a panel of when Spandine shot Clover all those years ago. They remember what they put forth. What
is it, Vegapunk? I can hear it. The sound of Bonnie's voice, begging for my help.
And this is Sanji carrying Vegapunk. And he's running faster and faster as it looks like Ethan Barron is about to bear down on Bonnie.
Who's that?
And then it cuts to Ethan Barron going,
Jewelry Bonnie, you shall not have the Navy's might. Get back, Bonnie!
And then this is Frankie going,
Get back, Bonnie! Wait, Frankie, move it! The only one who gets to score points with Bonnie is me!
And Sanji comes in with speed unseen, and he proceeds to just straight up kick Ethan Barron in the face with enough force for his face to be bloodied.
Did you think the elderly get special treatment? This is how pirates fight!
And it shows Ethan Barron suddenly bursting into what looks like flames as his whole body turns into flames, and the head part of his Bakotsu form, like the horse part, it comes out of Ethan Barron's chest and proceeds to bite down on Sanji, which causes him to drop Vegapunk, with Bonnie going,
Sanji!
And then it cuts to the giants seeing Ethan Barron tussling with Sanji.
What is that? I have committed 2 sins.
And this is Vegapunk. He's starting! As it's cutting to so many other people.
He's starting!
Hold it down, Oimo! You got it, Kashi!
As Oimo and Kashi hold down Ethan Barron, they just tackle him and hold him down. And then Atlas shows up and she catches Vegapunk. And then Bonnie goes,
Distorted future.
Who is that? Is it Jewelry Bonnie?
As the Marines are watching, and Bonnie, replicating what she saw Luffy do, uses
Giant-like future!
And Bonnie grows to this, just basically takes on the same visage of Luffy when he uses Gum Gum Giant. She grows to that same size, and she's right above Oimo and Kashi as she's preparing to stomp down on Ethan Barron. And then we have Vegapunk still continuing.
Therefore, whether I am arrested or executed, I shall program this message to be broadcast when my heart stops beating.
Then we cut to Sabaody.
What?
You mean Vegapunk is already dead? Then it cuts to Duval and his crew. That can't be right. In the news this morning, it said that he was being held hostage by the Straw Hat crew. Then it cuts to Caesar. Who's with Judge, as we cut to Germa 66. And it cuts to Caesar going,
Huh? You've gotta be kidding me! We're here trying to drag you off your ivory throne, and you...
Then it cuts to Morgan's going,
You can't just give away the story to the entire world! How am I gonna sell my papers?
Then Vegapunk goes,
However, I want to make one thing very clear first. Whoever may have rendered their judgment unto me, I am not trying to convince you that their intent is evil.
No, I'm going to say that their intent is evil.
I will not apply the labels of good and evil at all, in fact.
As it cuts to Saturn, who's right there in front of Nami and company, with Usopp screaming,
"Ah! Go away!" Because I understand too little about him to begin with.
And Saturn is going, Vegapunk! And then Saturn is going, move! I have no time to deal with the likes of you. And then it cuts to Robin, who she's on a gurney, and she sits up, and she goes, that voice. I see. That is quite an audacious hypothesis. As it cuts back to Robin's memory, as she remembers the very voice she heard coming out of the transponder snail, speaking to Clover before the Ohara incident commenced. Nico Robin, the woman Akainu let slip between his fingers. The man is soft.
The 5 elders? Huh? What?
And then, as it cuts to Saturn preparing to stab towards Nico Robin, Nami screams, protect Robin! And then all of a sudden, Usopp, Brook, Chopper, and Zeus all come up to protect Robin from Saturn. Yo! And then they go, and then I think this is Usopp going,
we'll do whatever it takes.
Be gone, you miserable worms! As it cuts to Saturn, as it cuts to Mars, still flying, going, as it cuts to Mars, he's flying around. Vegapunk is still going.
What I am about to tell you is so preposterous you might even burst into laughter.
And Mars is flying around everywhere. He's been blasting buildings everywhere, he's been blasting buildings, trying to find and destroy whatever is causing this transmission to still go. I'm loving this chapter.
What I'm about to tell you is so preposterous you might even burst into laughter. It's no use. There are too many transponder snails in the lab. It seems there are no unique signals.
Then it cuts to York going,
think, York, think, or you won't get to be a celestial dragon. I'm Vegapunk too. Where would I hide it?
And then it cuts to Vegapunk going,
however, you all have the right to know.
And then it cuts to Mars going, what happens if we destroy the power plant? Don't. We can afford the loss of all the ships and sailors surrounding the island. And this is Saturn saying this. Then we get Worky who goes,
but no one will be able to create the Mother Flame anymore.
And then Vegapunk goes,
to make a long story short, the world as we know it will sink into the sea.
excuse me? And everyone is looking up and all going, huh? And it shows deep underwater mermaids swimming around. To be continued. And I'm looking at Egghead right now. I'm looking at Egghead, and I can't tell if this is an illusion, but the clouds over Egghead look kind of dark. The clouds over Egghead look kind of dark as the sun is shining through the clouds on the faces of everyone who's witnessing what's being said. But what do you mean the world as we know it will sink into the sea? Oh, you know what I'm just now realizing? Old Wano is now, Old Wano is now fully underwater, but at the same time... Wait, hold on. Let me just get my thoughts together. What do you mean? What do you mean? The world as we know it will sink into the sea. So you mean to wow. So you mean to tell me that every place we've been, the world as a whole, is going to be underwater? How does one Oda, how does one respond to that? So the world of One Piece is on borrowed time. It's not even a matter of this being the final saga. It's the final saga because the world of One Piece as we know it will be no more at some point. What sort of great cataclysm endgame nonsense is this? I'm done with the chapter. Let me see what you guys have said. Let me see what you guys have said. Let me see. Let me go back. Let me see. Okay, so I see Juke. Good to see you. I came early today. You're about to eat now. Don't worry. Yeah, we're going on break after this. Now that's a big brain. Let's go, my man. Kyushu, here we are. DJ, good to see you. Ozzy. Let me see. Julian. Eliminate the devils of Ohara, huh? Not. Here we go. Simchi is at it again. Yeah, he really came in clutch, kicking a Godosei directly in the face. He kind of looks like Hold'em in that form. Kinda. With a horse head coming out of his chest. It's kind of reminiscent of that. Sky's the limit when it comes to Bonnie. Yeah, what is the limit of Bonnie? Bonnie's devil fruit is broken. It really is. Like I said, if she's capable of tapping into different futures for herself, that includes being able to tap into a future where she can replicate different... I feel like she can replicate different devil fruit powers or at least the characteristics of it. I'm not saying that she's going to be able to tap into a future where she can get the powers of a Logia, but when it comes to changing her size, she can just see someone else and become that size. We saw it first when she was the size of Kuma, and now we have Bonnie, who's basically able to replicate Luffy's Gear 5 Gum Gum giant form just easily. Nami's leadership is great. I really like we got the moment where the weakest crew protect Robin against one of the most powerful enemies, which is Saturn. Seriously, Chopper using his guard point, Zeus turning into a mace and shielding deflecting one of the legs, Usopp using Exploding Star, Brook using Soul Solid to slice one of his legs off, all to protect Robin, because the Gorosei are desperately trying to kill Nico Robin, the sole survivor of the cursed Ohara people. But you gotta love how big of a family, just how trustworthy of a crew the Straw Hats are for them to just immediately defend Robin from the very individual that she heard all those years ago, because she recognized the voice. She recognizes the voice. And Nami's there grabbing onto her and protecting her before Saturn can crush her inside of the floating gurney that they have. They're obviously not going to beat Saturn, but defending and protecting Robin was a peak moment. It really is. It just shows you how close the Straw Hats really are with each other. This message from Vegapunk has me thinking about the Water 7, the destruction of the Fishman Island, or the Red Line. Don't tell me the Mother Flame is over Egghead. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. Look at the people staring up at the sky. Yeah. See? One could think like, oh, the sun is shining above these sailors. Above all these Navy soldiers. You know, all these people who came here with the intent and purposes of raising Egghead to the ground. And for all we know, the Mother Flame itself could be above Egghead right now, preparing to destroy everything and everyone. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But that's not the biggest thing, though. Another cliffhanger followed by a break. Boo. It's fine. Because the news of the world of One Piece as we know it will sink into the sea. meaning that the only way you're going to be able to live is on a ship. And if you're a devil fruit user, you're only... this is bad. You know how bad this is? Do you know how bad this is? How many devil fruit users exist that live on land? We don't know the time frame of when everything is going to go underwater, but today's chapter just told us that everything is going to go underwater. Like I said, we're on borrowed time. Oda, when I thought Oda was putting stakes into the Egghead arc, I already thought there were some serious stakes, like the very future of the Straw Hat crew, Luffy and everyone heading to Elbaf, Vegapunk potentially going with them. But now we're here. The situation is so dire that the Gorosei are here in attendance to try and stop this news, but they failed because Vegapunk pulled one of the best Uno reverse cards in One Piece, where he fools them into thinking like, oh, it's up there in Punk Records. Oh no, there's transponder snails all over the island because Mars has observation hockey. And that's what he used in order to sense the transponder snail up inside of Punk Records, which we come to find out houses the entire upper half of Vegapunk's giant head. Like his monstrously large giant head. His head might as well be as big as Oars. That's how big it is. It's massive. So Punk Records is literally just a storage unit for Vegapunk's sliced off giant brain. And my thing is, does it continuously still get bigger as you feed information into it? That's my question. But with the way the stakes are right now, I did not think that the one thing we would learn from this chapter is that the world of One Piece is soon about to go, is going to be going on. I don't mean soon, because he doesn't say soon. The world as we know it will sink into the sea. That's where we're at right now. And also, Q, don't forget about the importance of Noah's ship. Oh, I feel like that's going to come back. There's no way you're going to talk about the ship of Noah's ship and then not have it and not do anything with it. Because as far as we know, the last time we saw it in Fishman Island, it was being repaired due to the damage done to it by Luffy when he was fighting Hody Jones. And the Sea Kings rested the Noah at the deep sea forest, the forest out on the outskirts of Fishman Island, just rested it there. That's where it is right now, and it's been worked on. So I'm pretty sure that's going to come back into play. Wouldn't it be crazy? Wouldn't it be crazy if we get a callback all the way to Fishman Island of something that was said that leads to this moment being incredibly important? Oh, man. Okay, let's see. I'm guessing everything will be underwater. That's what it seems like. Speaking about Chopper, it would be very interesting to see Chopper awakened. He has the human fruit. But the curious thing about Chopper's human fruit is that it doesn't have a specific model. We've seen different models. Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. Hito Hito no Mi model Daibutsu, which is the golden Buddha that Sengoku has. And the other Hito Hito no Mi is just the one that Chopper has, but it doesn't have a model. So I wonder what that would be like. Or even better, Chopper awaken getting his pills. Maybe that jump-started it. I'm good. We can't prevent Golden Week from happening every year. I can wait 2 weeks. I can as well. Jinbei is the only Straw Hat who can survive underwater. Luffy, Robin, Chopper, and Brook are super dead. Oh, boy. Vegapunk is really smart. He got that brain fruit. The Gorosei didn't even realize it. They have no answer for Vegapunk's message. They don't. When Mars stepped on the shell of the transponder, it turned out to be like a regular transponder. And then he just went flying all out. Flying everywhere. Trying to find out where it was. Frankie can probably transform into a ship so he can survive underwater. See, you got to think about the coding, though. The coding to get down underwater. That's why Frankie's bounty poster is a ship. He will transform into a ship so he can save everyone when the underwater rise. How about if Frankie will inherit Vegapunk's devil fruit, then he'd be stuck on land because he couldn't go underwater. They're not islands, they're peaks of mountains from the sunken continents. Who knows? Who knows? Because as far as we know in the world of One Piece, there's always been this just massive sea everywhere. But we don't know if that sea rose over the millennia, over the many years, over those 800 years. We have no idea. Because we don't know what the world was like 800 years ago. But when it comes to stakes, and I got to finish this statement because I went off on a wholly different tangent. When it comes to stakes, among all the things that I was thinking Oda was going to do to set up like one big massive thing that's got to be taken care of, otherwise everyone will die, I honestly thought the biggest stake that was going to be put out there was like the Mother Flame is going to be going to these different islands to wipe them off the map in mass. It has enough power to just start wiping out islands entirely. That's what part of me was thinking when the Mother Flame and the structure that it is, you know, pretty much destroyed Lelouja and left like a giant gaping hole. The world as we know it will sink into the sea. After Lelouja was destroyed, didn't the water raise? The water rose after Lelouja was destroyed. And does that mean that the water is still rising, though? What if the use of the Mother Flames has prompted the sea to rise as all of these islands get destroyed? What if that's been prompting the sea to rise gradually with each island destroyed? I'm making a very obscure theory here, but what if it's prompted? What if it's prompted by those islands being destroyed? How many islands have been completely wiped off the map by the Mother Flame over the years? Lelouja not being the first one, but what if it's one of many? We've talked about this before, but what if all these islands being destroyed has caused the water to raise higher and higher over time? I'm just spitballing here. I'm only going off of knowledge of like the water raising after Lelouja was destroyed, and then just thinking about how many other potential islands and places were destroyed by the Mother Flame itself. I'm just thinking. But I was not expecting Vegapunk to say like, "Hey everyone, I got a message here on the event of my death. You may not like it. You may even burst out laughing. You may not even believe it, but the world as we know it will sink into the sea." Let me tell you the thing that I thought Vegapunk was going to say first. I'm going to tell you the truth of the world and the fact that it's going to sink into the sea, that's a pretty big thing to swallow. That's a pretty big pill to swallow. Everything I know and love will sink into the sea. This home that I've been raised in, this home that my parents have been raised in, this home that my grandparents have been raised in, this entire country that I've lived in all of my life. Yo, Neil Johnson, being a member for 25 months. I gotta give you applause. Hold on. I gotta set it up. 25 months, sir. You deserve an applause. Yes, sir. Clap for him. Thank you, Neil Johnson, for your pretty much 2 years of support as a member. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. But how does one process the news that the world of One Piece is soon going to be engulfed in water? I keep saying soon. It's a habit. I'm sorry. But how do you process the thought of the world you know will be just completely covered in water? Everything. Dressrosa, Drum Island, Syrup Village, Windmill Village, Punk Hazard, Whole Cake Island. The only people who will be able to survive in the world and it'll be as if nothing has ever happened is going to be the mermaid and the fish folk from Fishman Island. They're going to be the only race of people who will be able to adapt easily because they already live underwater. but every place we've seen. It is crazy. And you know what? I think Oda did this on purpose. Let me explain to you why I think he did this on purpose, where he showed all the locations of all the places the Straw Hats have been. It's not a coincidence. He's showing us, hey, remember all these places? They're gonna be underwater. It's gonna be underwater. All these people, seeing all these individuals living out their lives, listening to this news, and then at some point in the future, all those places are going to be gone, covered in water. Even Sabaody is going to be submerged. Amazon Lily, the Kamabaka Queendom, Impel Down, because Impel Down is not a floating prison. It is literally a stationary prison. So if the whole world as we know it is going to be sunk into the sea, every location, even Navy HQ is going to be engulfed as well. We don't know how far up, we don't know how submerged things are going to be, but this just introduced a whole new problem. How long are Zunisha's legs? I feel like it'll be long enough. I was wrong. There's two places that are going to be fine with the water. There's two places that are going to be fine. Fishman Island, because they're already underwater, and Zou. Even Wano, because I know Wano is high up on the giant mountain where the entire country is situated, but there's no guarantee that the water won't reach it. And then again, we don't even know to what degree. Only Water 7 will survive, especially if Iceberg turned it into a floating island. Wasn't that... that was Iceberg's idea, wasn't it? Or was that Frankie? Was that Frankie's idea? Because if Frankie's idea comes into question... and of Sky Islands. So we got Fishman Island, Zou, Water 7, if the floating city thing works out between Frankie and Iceberg. And then the Sky Islands... Oh, God, man, this just changed my whole perspective of the world for One Piece. If you guys don't mind me saying, it just changed my whole perspective. Every place we've known, all the memories we had, it's gonna be underwater. What we saw of old Wano. So the Celestial Dragon's clothing was not a spacesuit, but a diving suit in case the world got sunk. Did this... Did they know? They knew. The red line will probably survive with Marijois at the top of it. You know what I think? Wow. Now, oh my God. Now we have to rethink the very placement of places now. We got Marijois at the top of the red line, which is undeniably large. So if the world submerged, Marijois, Zou, Fishman Island, the Sky Islands, they would all be safe. But especially Marijois. Oh my God. We gotta rethink everything now. With Vega... Now I gotta look back through old locations we've been to and see if they have the capacity to survive being pretty much just flooded. I honestly thought that they were spacesuits, but then part of me was thinking like, these clothings, the clothing that the Celestial Dragons are wearing look oddly similar to diving suits, but maybe I'm just overthinking it. Now we get Vegapunk telling us that the world as we know it will sink into the sea. And now we have how do you process this? How do you process this? Hold on, let me pull it up. It's probably going to cause my my video to get choppy for one quick second. I wonder how everyone felt about this. How did everyone feel about this chapter? I gotta check out Roger, I gotta check out Brago, I gotta check out King of Lightning, I gotta check them all out because this is something. So, let me go through the long summary real quick. I'll say my final thoughts, then I'll eat my food, and then afterwards I will do My Hero and Jujutsu. Wow. 30 seconds remain until the broadcast officially begins, and Mars sees that the source of the gurgling sound he heard earlier was Dr. Vegapunk's disconnected brain, which Mars wonders if it is the scientist's true form. So that puts into perspective that the body we see of Vegapunk may not actually be his main body, because the consciousness of Vegapunk probably exists inside of the brain, which means that Stella is just another satellite. He's not the main Vegapunk, but he's the body that the brain speaks through. Great! This just changed up how I view the satellites of Vegapunk! Regardless, Mars walks over to the broadcast Denden Mushi and steps on it to break it. To his shock and rage, though, he sees it was just an ordinary Denden Mushi in disguise, meaning he was completely fooled into following a decoy, and the broadcast continues. I love how Mars got upset that Vegapunk had the audacity to fool him into thinking that what he was going after was right there, but he just fooled him, and he's all like, how dare you make a fool of me? And I'm like, bruh, you brought it on yourself. Mars transforms into his Itsumade form and flies out of Punk Records, cursing Dr. Vegapunk as the scientist finally begins his broadcast. With several people all over the world, including Kaya and her friends at Syrup Village is susceptible to the whole flooding as well, the citizens of Karakuri Island, the people of Torino Kingdom, and even the pirates of Hachinosu tune in. The other elders ask Mars what he's doing, and he tells them about the decoy, and now there is no way for them to currently stop the broadcast. He does say that they have no idea how much Dr. Vegapunk actually knows or what he plans on saying, but York told him he wants to carry the torch of the Ohara scholars, Oharan scholars. In other words, he plans on finishing what Ohara started 22 years ago. That's my guy! Back with Sanji, he hears Bonnie crying for help, and he arrives at the coastline where he sees Nosjuro confront her and Frankie, telling the former they won't let her have the pacifista. Frankie prepares to defend Bonnie from Nosjuro's sword, but Frankie makes the heroic save himself, uppercutting Nosjuro with his foot. In response, the elder turns into his full Bakotsu form and bites down on Sanji, causing him to let go of Dr. Vegapunk. Mind you, the particular moment where he bites down on Sanji, you don't see any blood being drawn from the bite, which means that Sanji's body is tough enough where he'll get held in the jaws of Venusjuro, but not enough for the jaws to actually do him substantial damage, because, you know, Sanji's got that exoskeleton now. Let me see. Oimo and Kashi arrive on the scene and restrain Nosjuro, forcing him to let go of Sanji. Atlas grabs the Stella, while Bonnie uses Distorted Future to turn herself into a giant, intending to crush Nosjuro with her foot. She's literally jumping up in the air just like Luffy did when he was facing Kaido, and she's preparing to stomp on Venusjuro, with Oimo and Kashi holding onto him so he can't get anywhere. All the while, Dr. Vegapunk says in his message that he has committed 2 grave sins, and he will soon be executed for them. So he programmed the message to start playing when his heartbeat stops. His words shock the world as everyone starts fearing that Dr. Vegapunk is dead now, but he continues saying he doesn't want the people to assume the one who killed him is evil regardless of who they may be, and that he is in no position to judge right from wrong in this instance. I'm pretty sure in this instance, he just said it in general, and most likely not just because the world government would be the ones to come after him and kill him. As for the Straw Hat crew in the Labo phase, Saturn finally climbs all the way up and demands the pirates to stand aside so he can handle Dr. Vegapunk's message. He does spot Robin and calls her the one Akainu let slip through his fingers. In turn, Robin recognizes his voice as one of the 5 elders from that day, the day Professor Clover died. Saturn immediately starts attacking as Nami grabs Robin and pushes her out of the way, while Zeus, Chopper, Usopp, and Brook do their best to resist him. Growing frustrated, Mars decides it will be easier to completely destroy the lab because he can't single out the origin of the broadcast, and York is struggling to figure out where the Stella would have put it herself. Saturn and Mercury, however, tell Mars that if he does, not only will they lose their military might, they'll lose their ability to recreate the Mother Flame. As for Dr. Vegapunk's message, he says that what he is about to say will be hard to believe, and many may consider him crazy, but he feels he owes it to the people to let them know. And with that, he tells everyone that the world will soon sink into the blue sea. So going over the chapter notes real quick, and then I'll get my final thoughts, and then I'll bring this to a close. The inside mechanics of Punk Records is shown for the first time, including the storage tank containing Vegapunk's brain. Mars destroys the broadcast Denden Mushi, but it turns out to be a decoy. Mars attempts to locate the real broadcast Denden Mushi around the Labo phase, but is unable to find it. The five elders suspect that Vegapunk intends to resume Clover's message about the ancient kingdom from 20 years ago. Sanji, did I say 22 years ago? Yeah, 22. Yeah, let's see. Sanji defends Bonnie and Frankie from Nasjuro. Oimo and Kashi arrive to aid Sanji. Bonnie uses her abilities to become gigantic and fight back against Nasjuro. Saturn attempts to kill Robin as the present Straw Hat pirates move to protect her. Vegapunk's broadcasted message finally begins. Vegapunk confirms that he is indeed dead, with the broadcast being programmed to activate with his passing. Vegapunk mentions committing 2 grave sins that led to his execution, but does not specify which. Vegapunk reveals that the world is set to sink into the blue sea. How do you respond? How do you respond to this news? How do you respond to this news? Gaiman is screwed. Oh yes, Gaiman and Sarfunkel. His friend that I want to say his girlfriend or his friend or girlfriend that is on that island. You know, Gaiman is the dude that fell into that giant treasure chest, and then he's been stuck there all of his life. I still think about the whole thing about falling into a treasure chest to the point where your legs get stuck, and I'm just thinking like, just the edge of the treasure chest just going across your skin like that. I was all like, it's just painful. It's just painful. It's just painful to think. Yeah, this chapter is insane. Oda keeps cooking. He really does. Put it simply, pretty much all places in the East, South, West, and North Blue are most definitely Doom. Yeah. 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 Giant Brain. Also, Giant Brain, love to see that. Also good. Always good to see you, Halster. Always good. The only one who gets to score points with Bonnie is me. Sanji, it's a trap. It's a trap! It's a trap, Sanji! Don't do it! Don't do it! He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Sanji, calm down. You don't know. He doesn't know. My favorite in this chapter was not Vegapunk's message, but rather the weakest crew protecting Robin. It was an amazing peak moment. Yeah, because they really don't get like a very big moment to shine. I mean, Chopper got a moment to shine where he slapped the mess out of Queen in a performance floor. Usopp got one where he was defending Kinemon and Kiku from all of those beast pirates. Brook had a moment where he was, working with Robin during Onigashima. And even Zeus had a moment where he protected Nami from Ulti. But to have all 3 of them have that moment, have 3 of them all in that moment, have their big moment all together, yeah, it was very nice. Is this broadcast over, or will it continue next chapter? Will Vegapunk reveal more? It's going to be interesting. It remains to be seen. I highly doubt that Vegapunk's message is over by him just saying, like,
I'm going to give you my introduction. I did these things, but I gotta let you know, the world is going to sink into the sea. All right, that's the end of my message.
I highly doubt it's the end of the message. I believe it's just a starter. That's his opening. That's his opening. And then I'm pretty sure I would love for him to explain where he got this hypothesis from. Where he got this knowledge from. Because that's where the real important stuff is going to be. I also love to see Caesar crying too. I like to think deep down he looked up to Vegapunk still even now. Oh, he was incredibly jealous. But even when you see someone, even when you're jealous of a person who's better at something than you can't help but kind of respect them in your own way, simply because it's like, this person is really good at what they do. We both do the same thing, but he does it so much better than me. I don't like him, but I can't help but respect him because he's just that good. I'd imagine that Caesar's Because the thing is, Caesar and Judge, they wanted to go and drag Vegapunk off of his lofty perch, but they can't do that now. And they're disappointed because they wanted to have the satisfaction of proving themselves better than Vegapunk. And now that that moment's lost, pretty much lost at this point, Caesar's all like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, but that's me making assumptions, which is dangerous to do with Caesar. Yeah, that is true. But I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even think the message is over either. I wonder what else we'll hear. That's what I've been saying. Im-sama will be... Yeah, he's going to be upset. Im-sama. I hope we see Im's reaction soon. Im's reaction to this will be insane. Imagine having the whole world find out that it's going to sink into the sea. Now everyone's going to be trying to make their way over to the Red Line. Because the Red Line goes across pretty much a giant portion of the world. Does it go all the way around? Does the Red Line go all the way around? Caesar's not jealous, he's envious, that's true. And so starts the One Piece withdrawal. I want my One Piece, I want my One Piece, I want my One Piece. I know. Yeah, that's where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. Not to mention, but the things that we gotta resolve for One Piece before all gets engulfed in the sea. That includes getting to Laugh Tale and finding the One Piece before that island itself is engulfed in the sea. So now I bit my tongue. Now the stakes are even higher. We gotta get to the One Piece now, before it's submerged. We don't know how long it's gonna take for every known place in the entire world to be submerged underwater. The sooner we get to the One Piece, the better. Now the race is really on now. Finding out that the whole world is gonna be sinking into the sea. That includes Laugh Tale. Yeah, this was a fantastic chapter, but now the stakes are even dire. On top of like the final bosses we got to face off against, we got to take care of every loose end before those loose ends go fully underwater. I was not expecting these types of stakes for Egghead right now. I was not. I was expecting like the history of the world immediately, but hearing that the world is getting submerged, it's all gonna be underwater. That was not on my list. Imagine Gear 5 Luffy drinking all the water. Ain't it like that story of the 7 brothers that had the unique superpowers? One had, and they were all identical twins. I forget the exact name of that story. One was capable of swallowing all the water inside a location. Another one was capable of extending his neck. Another one had like an ironclad neck that couldn't be beheaded by anyone. I forget the exact story, but I remember it's an old tale. It's an old folks tale about the brothers who had all that power. So you immediately reminded me of that story. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. Still got my food here. Got to eat all of it while it's still pretty much hot. Thank you. We're going on break for One Piece and more than likely My Hero and Jujutsu. So, this was great. Neil, once again, thank you for being a member for 2 whole years. Thank you to all of my members, really. You really do help me be able to, like not only play games, but also get the equipment that I need in order to keep this channel going. Because, I mean, it's the only job I got, and I'm just grateful that I have people out there who like support me in that way on top of everything else that you guys do for me. So this is just a joy to do. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been my reaction to One Piece chapter 11 and 13. All I can say to you, both regulars and even new people who are here right now, is hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, even subscribe if you haven't already and you made it to the end, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples, time to eat, and then we move on to My Hero.